The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
TFNN, 8:30 a.m. Thursday morning, 60 minutes to go until the opening bell, and we got a mixed market so far to kick things off. You got the S&Ps up 4 points right now, trading at 3807. We got the NASDAQ 100, we'll call it flat, off 1 point, 12,970. The Dow positive by 83 points this morning, 31,045. And the Russell, how about 11 points to the positive? That's 0.5% in the Russell at 2122. We'll jump around to commodities. Is Bitcoin a commodity? Is it a currency? Either way, it's up $2,500 this morning at 38,960. I mean, look at this trading range, folks. From last Friday at 42,000 to Monday at 31,000. It's only Thursday, and we're at 38,950 so far this morning. All right, love doing my program at 8:30 every morning. A lot going on with 60 minutes to go. One of the marquee events of the week, weekly jobless claims coming in just now. 965,000, folks. That number continuing to rise, actually, on a weekly basis. Market was only looking for about 800,000. Interesting to see how the market's going to react to that when today we're supposed to get President-elect Biden's stimulus plan. His plan doesn't mean it will go through Congress, but his plan of what he would want for stimulus. Seems like right now we need it in the short term, especially for some of those workers hardest hit. We'll get into those weekly jobless claims in a moment. But you see it rising almost to 1,965,000, and that's an initial claim on a weekly basis, folks. It's unfortunate that we almost forget that in any other universe, folks, any other year, okay, 2020 aside, the record for a weekly jobless claim number, I believe, was like 692,000. We've been stuck over that number every single week for almost a full year now. Remarkable. The other side of that, the good news, the vaccines are starting to roll. Why don't we jump over to that article in a moment? Right now, vaccines, you're talking about 10.8 million doses in the U.S. You're seeing things ramp up. Now it's going to be open to everybody. CDC putting out new guidelines, 65 and plus, and also those with conditions. I believe it was 18 to 64 with conditions that put them at high risk. That number of people equals 128 million people that now would be eligible for those doses under that guidance. Hopefully you see things ramp up, but pretty encouraging numbers when you think we're at 11 million, all right, not where we want it to be, right? We're supposed to be at 20 million, hopefully, by the end of 2020. We're now 2 full weeks into 2021, and we're still at only about 11 million doses. But just looking at some of the states that I'm most biased towards, Florida being one of them, where I reside, you're talking about 800,000 doses given, 61 of the second. But what should happen is that this 61,000 number, that's going to catch up. In about 21 days, we'll have 1 million people almost. I mean, we're at 769,000 in the state of Florida have been administered. Okay, that's only 3.58 doses per 100 people. We need to get to like 70 to 80 to potentially 85% of people vaccinated in this country for herd immunity. Nonetheless, we're on the path to a brighter future. All right, jumping back into what we have going on. We'll pull up those jobs numbers in a moment. Highest weekly total since August. That's one way to categorize it. We're almost at 1 million. See how this market, look at the market just shake it off, folks. I've talked about it on this program. It's a very unique time in the markets in the world, obviously, humanity-wise, obviously. Very unique time to say the least. But when you just tie it back to the market, okay, what I find so interesting is that we've never seen anything like this, at least in my lifetime, okay? I'm 40 years old. I imagine in many lifetimes of those older than me out there, you haven't seen anything like a pandemic hitting the globe, shutting down economies all over the globe, air travel completely shut down, economies shut down. But guess what? We now know we have a vaccine. We now know, I mean, when you look at the globe, you're talking about 33 million people have gotten that dose almost in 45 countries. Okay, and we're at 11 million people in the U.S. Point being, it's coming. It's coming right now. We're going to start getting mass vaccination sites. We talked about it yesterday, Disneyland in California. Point being, the market is pretty certain about a future, which is remarkable when you think about how glim and doomy things seem right now. Yet the almost certainty, and almost, folks, because we got to take this vaccine. Okay, we got to get over this hump. All indications seem to be that it's perfectly healthy. There was one story out there yesterday that there was a doctor, I believe in Miami, 16 days after he took the vaccine, he passed away. They're trying to look into that. I encourage you to do your own research, folks. We're at 11 million people right now, and that is one instance. They are looking into it to see if it had any relation. No indication yet that it did. But the market, it's kind of, I anticipate one of the things that could happen is you may see it stuck in this consolidation, because try and wrap your head around how today we get a weekly jobless claim that's the worst one in like 5 months or so, right? We're at 1 million people every single week right now that are filing an initial weekly jobless claim. On the same day that we're going to get President-elect Biden's stimulus plan that's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion. So we have the harsh economic reality. We have the stimulus plan that is all but priced into the market, okay? I mean, real players in the market, you know what's coming. You know there's going to be a big stimulus plan. There might even be another one in the next month or so, depending on how things go, depending on how the vaccine rollout goes. So would it make sense for the S&P to pull back dramatically on the economic news? I don't think so, because of the fact that you have such a bright future, and the fear of missing out is running this market right now, maybe rightfully so. I've never seen anything what I'm hoping to see in the next 3 or 6 months, when the exuberance, when we overcome this thing, folks. That's why we got to come together, okay? Social distance, wear a mask. Those who can get vaccinated, get it done, get this thing rolled out. And man, what a time it's going to be, okay? I'm sure this is somewhat akin. I have not lived it in my lifetime. When I see pictures of World War II ending, right? People in the streets, hysteria, jubilance, all of that. Point being, how is the market going to trade back when we know as market participants, and we don't know, anything can happen, but we're in the probability business, and there is a very high probability, folks, that we overcome this, at least in the U.S. It's going to take some time across the globe. Okay, so you're not going to see a drastic pullback when we know that's coming. The other side of that is, are you going to see a dramatic rise to like 4,500 to 4,000 to 4,200 in the S&Ps? I don't know. The market might be a little patient and wait for the reality to match up to the rhetoric. I mean, we were just at 3,200, okay? So the market has priced in almost a 20% rise from where we were prior to the efficacy of the vaccines being released. I think the market has a little bit of catching up to do with that vaccine actually being released and put into the public. Nonetheless, pretty interesting. We're sitting right here, basically all the markets now positive. We get the NQ ticking positive by 2 points, S&P's positive by 5, Dow positive by 100 now. Maybe the market actually likes that. It's quite a messed up time, folks. Bad economic indicators equal more stimulus equals higher prices in the stock market. I joke with friends, all equations lead to higher prices in stocks. Recently, that's been the case, but we'll see how that shakes out. We'll take a look at Delta when we get back after the break. Delta has their earnings this morning, trading a bit higher on their numbers. We were at 40.50 yesterday. We're up about $1 on Delta's earnings to 41.44 so far this morning, and we'll jump over to the VIX as we wrap up this first segment. Higher prices in the market, lower prices in the VIX. Pretty comfy at about a 22 handle right now in that VIX. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back, see what else we have going on for Thursday trading. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P is positive by 5. All the markets in the positive right now. Jumping back to Delta, pulling up their numbers. Where are we? There we are. So Delta halves their cash burn in the fourth quarter, narrows losses to cap worst year ever. Not really hard to imagine with considering what's going on with travel domestically and especially internationally. Just shut down. News earlier this week makes sense. That we're going to now require negative testing from international travelers traveling into the country. I imagine you're going to see these types of practices put in place, folks, because they're going to be instrumental as we vaccinate the U.S., making sure the countries are not, that possibly might not be doing as good of a job, at least in the immediate term, vaccinating their own public. And when you talk about the variety of strains that are now popping up from COVID-19 and making sure that we limit those strains as much as we can while we vaccinate this thing to get rid of it. Nonetheless, Delta, how about a $12.39 billion loss in 2020? $12 billion they lost in 2020. Swung to a $755 million net loss in the fourth quarter compared with a $1.1 billion profit a year earlier. So they lost $12.4 billion basically for the year. They only lost $755 million in the fourth quarter. Total revenue falling 65% from $11.44 billion in the fourth quarter of 2019 to $3.97 billion. The thing that's remarkable, actually, is that there is that much travel going on. Delta Airlines had almost $4 billion in revenue in 90 days during a pandemic peaking. Holiday season probably having a lot to do with that. We saw the travel, some of peak travel since the pandemic began during that holiday season. Nonetheless, you have Delta shares up a bit this morning on their numbers. And we had a trade in Rocket Equities and Options yesterday in this equity, and I'll take a look at it real quick. And one of the things, you know, I talk about it often. You can use it for your own practice. And folks, check it out on the front page of TFNN.com. Head on over to newsletters, Rocket Equities and Options. You can sign up, 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers. We have equities in there. We also have options. This is an example of what we looked at yesterday. Let me make sure that we can see it too. I'm just going to size it correctly here. I love the Thinkorswim platform. They are a sponsor, folks, but I often say, I know I'm biased. They're a sponsor. That's the definition of a bias, right? But I would use their platform even if they weren't, folks. They are a great platform. I love how they visually put everything here. Here's the trade we were looking at. A put credit spread, okay? The idea behind this is, and I've talked about it with the market as well, something to think about yourself. We're in a unique time that we might see that consolidation. How do you make money off a consolidation? One of the ways you do it is you absorb premium with the VIX trading at 22 or 23 right now, pricing in some pretty dramatic moves, which are possible, okay? In every trade, please set your risk reward according to the fact that you are going to lose sometimes, even if this market looks like it's always going up. We've seen the pullbacks, and they are harsh and they are quick. To go over this trade, though, the methodology, so it's a put credit spread, okay? It is selling a 40 put. Now, I'm going to walk you through it, okay? Delta's trading at about $40 and change yesterday. Call it $40.50 when we come into this trade late yesterday afternoon, anticipating Delta's numbers. Methodology goes like this, okay? Do you have upside or downside risk in the airlines? My bias, my thoughts, you got to have a bias, folks. You can't just trade options and make money, all right? The market is pricing in one bias, which is volatility and price movement, directional movement, and it's your job to take whatever you think is going to happen and devise what kind of strategy you think will benefit from that bias the most if it comes true. So the thinking is, well, the whole world knows that airlines are in trouble, okay? Number one, there's not much that they could say on an earnings call that would be a huge surprise to the downside, right? Okay, so you factor that in. You also factor in that today we have President-elect Biden coming out with his stimulus plan. Maybe there'll be some oomph in there, to put it lightly, for some airlines, okay? Nonetheless, Delta comes out, they beat on revenue a little bit, they still lost a lot of money, but they have their cash burn, okay? And I could just see these. Doesn't really mean that they're going to pull back. The whole world knows when they're coming out there with earnings how bad they're going to be. Doesn't mean it's going to accelerate higher either. So what do? We decide to absorb some of the premium. Now, Delta did not have a lot of premium built into this equity because there's not this grandiose unknown variable that they're waiting for earnings. Something like a Disney coming out with their numbers, right? Boy, I mean, last earnings season for Disney, they announced just a gangbuster of programs they're going to come out with. They're going to have all these different programs. They're going to have the Kardashians. They're going to have new Star Wars programs. They're going to have 350 million viewers, subscribers, maybe by 2024. That's not happening on the Delta call, okay? The whole world knows they're in trouble. The pandemic needs to end for international travel to even have a chance at coming back. The pandemic needs to end for domestic travel to have a chance at even coming back to even close to the realm of normal. Now, in this trade, we're collecting 25 cents of credit, okay? And we're risking 75 cents. So we are risking $3 to make $1 in this trade. When you're making these trades, folks, you're going to lose these trades. Now, by the math, you're going to lose it 25% of the time, right? If you're making profitable trades, even if you're going to lose this trade 1 out of 3 times, it's a massively profitable trade. Well, no, that would make it pretty much, yeah. You're going to have to factor in that occasionally those losses are going to come. Don't leverage up just because you think you're making a high probability wager, which you are. That this trade should, just by the mere metrics of what you're risking versus what you're rewarding, this trade should expire in the money about 75% of the time. But what's going to happen is occasionally you're going to get a surprise. Delta's going to trade lower. It's going to trade right through the 40 to the 39 price point. You're going to lose your $75 per contract when you were only hoping to make 25. But every time you make 25, folks, that's a 33% profit. You're risking $75 if it trades between 40 and 39, because you are the one absorbing the premium in this options trade. You're selling a put spread. Okay, you're collecting the credit. So you're the one saying, I'm going to collect the premium between $40 and $39, because I don't think that there's a bigger chance that this Delta is going to trade to 39 by Friday. It's only like a 3-day trade, folks. Okay, now we'll see what happens on the opening bell. This trade is not yet decided yet, but something to think about when you think about how to trade this market. And folks, small trades, okay, when you're risking these trades, they are going to be 100% losers occasionally when you're risking money. That, I mean, this stock was trading at $40.50. All it has to do is trade back to 39 and we lose everything. Well, it was just trading at $38.90 this week. Of course that's possible. But we see the action this morning going in our favor. We will look in Rocket for this equity to close above $40 by Friday. We got a little bit of a cushion to the upside right now. I mean, it only moved $1, right? But We'll see what happens. Just something to walk through. I'm really trying to think about that, whether you're just looking at the market, whether you're looking at individual equities in particular. We are in for a very unique time. I stressed it, but that's how I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Now, certain equities are going to be very different. There's going to be winners and losers. I mean, we're seeing it. I'll jump to one of our other equities, Uber. I mean, this thing is just plowing higher, folks. This is the type of move you like to see in Uber. We'll pull it on the daily. There's your consolidation between about 48 and 55. I had talked about in the letter. It's right near the upper end of the consolidation. We want to see it explode above that consolidation. What happens, folks? 2 days ago on Wednesday, this thing pops to about 59. This morning, we're going to open at basically all-time highs on Uber. Can't hold Uber down this morning, pushing $60. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got markets in positive territory. Look at that S&P when you put it on a daily. Just inching right there at all-time highs of 38.09. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back, see what else we have on tap for Thursday trading. We'll go over that jobs number a little bit more when we get back as well. Stay tuned.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We have the market just sitting here waiting. I imagine with the news of the stimulus plan coming out later today, maybe we're waiting for that. Maybe we're just waiting for the vaccine to catch up, folks, as this S&P up about 5 points right now, sitting at 38.09. kind of interesting when you look back at just like the last week, right? I have going back to last Friday. In each of these, look at the thrust downward every single time, right? Last Friday, we thrust down to about 37.80, a little bit further. Monday, we kick things off with pretty similar action pre-market. Tuesday, you make a dive to 37.70. Yesterday, pre-market as well, we're down to 37.80 each day. Talk about resilience, folks. This market, fear of missing out, it bounces, and it bounces in a big way. We're sitting at about 38.09. All right, let's check out Tesla shares this morning. Got to keep our eye on Tesla. I mean, the resilience of this stock, folks. You could have thought that this thing might have peaked when we come to 695. You get added to the S&P. I mean, we talked about leading up to this. Who's going to be the people supporting Tesla after it's added to the S&P? If you weren't buying ahead of this, who's buying after it? Well, you see the volume, folks. You're talking about an $854 stock, and you're talking about pushing, 75 million shares on the 8th, 60 million shares on the 11th, 45 million. We are trailing off a bit, 33 million. We'll keep our eye on that volume as it trails off a bit, but strong numbers above the 695. Remarkable what's happening with Tesla. Number 2 on the world's richest man slot, Amazon. You want to talk about consolidation, folks. Look at this consolidation, all right? Amazon jumping around between about 3,000 and maybe you could call it 3,400, right in the middle of that range. Might be poised to trade higher eventually, but Amazon had a little bit of consolidation to do after you basically went from 1,600 to 3,500 over the span of about 5 or 6 months. Check in on some of those other FANG stocks this morning. Apple shares up a bit. 130.94. Microsoft shares so far up down a bit, down about 10 cents to 216.20. We'll check in on those banks real quick. You got Citi. We got bank earnings tomorrow in a big way, folks. How about notes and bonds? We'll finish off the show. Pretty calm action. You got the 10-year right now flat at 136.24. Stay tuned, folks. We got Larry Pesavento. He's coming up live next with Trade What You See. Thanks so much, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.